It's a really good team. Guards are so good at controlling the pace and controlling the game and getting downhill, and they're very difficult to cover. I thought we did a really good job, really in the first half. The last 3.5 minutes there, they got loose from us, but a lot of that had to do with us turning the ball over, and sometimes your defense doesn't have a chance to play. But I was, aside from our turnovers at halftime, I thought our defense was fairly solid, but we couldn't really get enough going offensively. It really, I'm not saying it made the difference in the game, but it really hurt us when Marcus got his third foul in the first half. That was a key point for us, because that's when they kind of blitzed us a little bit, and I thought Shamil came off the bench and really played a solid game for us. I really liked the way he attacked the game and played particularly on the offensive end, and I thought our guys fought hard. They were just a better team than us, I thought we could have played a little better. I thought we could have done some things a little better than we did, but you got to give them credit, because they were disruptive. They're really good defensively. Their numbers are great, and after a game you can see why, because they really get into you and make it. Not necessarily pass is tough, but they're all over your shots, and they're physical. They play very physically on defense as well, but disappointing to lose, but they're a really good team.
Is that just an effect of them wearing you down then as it goes on? Because it's a strict man look that they throw.
Yeah. They wear you down with their physicality and their athleticism, and plus they play hard. So, they're well prepared. Obviously, and so, we just didn't. When we needed to get by them, we couldn't, or when we did get by them, then they've got the length at the goal, which is a problem, again. I thought our kids played hard. I thought they fought hard. I just thought we didn't have enough answers for them.
I think the 3 fouls Marcus picked up kind of is what knocked him out of rhythm.
Yeah, I think so. I think it all started probably with the second one, because I had to take him out, and then I put him back in because, we need him back in, and then he gets the third one, and not that the fourth one made a huge difference in the game, but I was trying to get a switch defensively to get him on a different guy, because when you're trying to keep a guy from picking up his fourth foul, you don't want him guarding the guy that's receiving all the ball screens, and so we tried to get him on, and I didn't get that done in time, so that was my fault, but anyway, yeah, I think that his foul trouble was part of what kept him out of rhythm. I think that the quality of their defensive play was the other part. They're very good defensively.
When you guys, Kevin, go through those kind of those shooting routes that you did today, going about 13 minutes without a made field goal from the first half into start the second, how much more precarious or fragile is that sort of a situation when you've got a team that this is their very first ACC game for 9 of these guys?
Yeah, I think that it's difficult because we mostly have to rely on team play to score. We're not a team that's built right now to break a guy off on a dribble and just take a guy one-on-one, or we're not built right now to be able to throw it inside and either get a bucket or a foul or draw a double team and kick it out, or we got some development that has to take place before we get guys to be that way, so sometimes the offense can get hard for us, and the thing that I like about our guys is they don't stop playing defensively, but we're a little prone to scoring droughts, and obviously Ryan will help that when he gets back, but because now he's a guy that all of a sudden he can create a problem for the other team, whether it's putting it on the floor and driving one of their big guy, whatever the case might be. But yeah, we're prone to some scoring droughts, and we know that, and that's why we have to continue to try to attack the goal and get ourselves to the foul line.
Are you thinking there's any chance that Ryan might be back for the game Tuesday?
I would say it's doubtful. We're hopeful of having him this week or next week, whatever week it is. But at this point, we're not sure.
Kevin, you guys run so many sets on offense. It just seemed like whatever they were doing on defense, you'd have a guy looking for the next pass, and it just wasn't there yet. And it was taking time, and you got out of flow at times. What do they do that makes it difficult?
I think the thing that they do the best is they're very physical on your cuts, and so as you're trying to utilize a screen, they're bumping you, and I'm not saying in an illegal way. They're very good at getting you off of your cut, and so now, if you're not able to use that screen effectively, or if that screen doesn't create some clearance, now you've sort of run around in vain. and so now all of a sudden you catch the ball and the guy is standing right there, and you didn't have the shot that we were maybe trying to create, and now it moves, so it's again, I credit our guys because they continue to try really hard defensively, even when the offense can struggle. And I told them after the game that I've got to figure out something to help them a little bit more offensively, because there are too many possessions that it feels like that it's a trip to the dentist. It just starts feeling like, okay, and again, it was made a lot worse today without Marcus in the game. I mean, that Marcus is kind of he's sort of the facilitator of our offense without Ryan in the game, and so that made it seem worse today because of the lack of time that he was in.
Yeah, I'm sure over the past week you guys have heard a lot from coaches and some of your older teammates about what goes into ACC play and how tough it is. How did those lessons can, I guess, only mean so much till you actually play a game? What was, for you guys, especially you, Shamil, being a freshman, what was that first experience like playing against this kind of a team that you're going to be facing for the next 2 or 3 months?
It was challenging, but personally, I'm just ready for anything. So, I'm ready. So, I mean, that wasn't a problem. But as a team, they're a good team. So we just got to continue to get better, and learn how to put a whole game together. That's part of being a young team and gelling together. But we're going to continue to get better, and we'll figure it out.
What was for both guys? What was the thing about playing a team like Miami that maybe was more difficult than you guys even thought going into the game?
They have a lot of good players with the ball in their hands. So I think that was, a little different than maybe we've experienced before. Other teams having 1 or 2 guys that really dominate. They got, 4 or 5 guys that can really make plays with the ball in their hands for themselves and for others. So, but like he said, I think if we just focus on us and get better, we'll be fine. We'll be able to, put a full game together. I think we didn't put the full game together today after they went on their little run in the first half. So.
Jared, you guys were leading 18-17 in an immediate timeout, and then offensively things started to slow down. What kind of happened what was going so well at that point? What changed, and how were they choosing to guard you and Marcus and some of the other guys on the perimeter?
They were just kind of jumping our lanes. When they were kind of overplaying our plays, our offensive set. So we stopped, running offense with really the right pace that we needed to really get our plays off. So I think that was a good job, by their coach, telling them to do that, because it kind of messed us up for a little second and took us more than, the time we should have taken to adjust to it. So
it's a pretty highly rated defense. What did they do, I guess, that makes them so good?
Like I said, when they made the defensive adjustment to kind of jump up the lane, that just kind of, messed us up a little bit. They had a lot of athletic guys, long arms, and our offense is pretty set, So we're coming off a down screen, and they're hedging, and the guys locking, trailing you, when earlier in the game they kind of were playing more to pack it in. So.
Anything surprise you today about their athleticism or their ability to get to the rim?
No. We watched a lot of tape on them, so we kind of knew how athletic they were. how good their guards were, even their big men too. So it wasn't really surprising. So I think we just, like I said earlier, just got to put a full 40 together. That's it.
Yeah, this is probably one of your better performances in the past few games, Shamil. What do you think was working for you today?
Honestly, I was just playing. I wasn't really thinking about anything other than helping my team win and just playing the hardest I can. That's really what I was doing. So.
What for you and I guess for your teammates too, so you can really speak for yourself, were the biggest challenges of rebounding and trying to get position and get space down low against such a big and physical team?
I mean, we're pretty tough. So I mean, tonight was they just kind of out-toughed us a little bit. But usually, we're pretty tough on the board. So that's something we just got to continue to stay consistent with. But no, we could be a good rebounding team. We just let them out-tough us a little bit today.
I also think, it was a little of sticking to our principles. When you play against a team that's that athletic, as most of the ACC teams are, and you're not like the biggest, tallest team or the highest jumping team, you got to stick to your principles, making sure you actually, locate and box out every time. Because one slip up and it's a putback dunk or a second chance kick out for a 3. So I think it was just sticking to our principles because, we're not going to out-jump anybody, especially in this league. So.
Shamil, it's especially in the second half there, is this where someone like you feels, Ryan Luther's presence in the half court, especially in the post, like you're maybe just not getting that help, that extra pass, ball movement?
Do you mean like?
Just like towards the latter stages of that game, it just seemed like became that difficult to really feed the post, really any kind of movement there at all.
No, I mean, no, we miss Rye definitely. He does a lot for our team, but like I said, we do these things all the time. We got Terrell can post up, we could throw it in there. I could post up, so it's not like it was just something that we got to work on and stay consistent with. But Rye would help if he was here, yeah, most definitely. But it's not something we consistently think we can't post up or none of that, but Rye would definitely help. So.
Do you feel like there's more pressure on you though to get those high percentage shots, at least try to get some ball movement inside?
No, I trust our team and the shots we can get. We got a lot of players who can score. So.
Coach Stallings said this week that you could be a difference maker if you just had a little bit more consistency. How are you working on trying to improve your consistency? What kind of things can you do to get to that level that he thinks you're capable of?
Well, like I said, I was just playing hard and just not really thinking about the game too much, overthinking things. Just going out there and putting my heart on the floor, and then see what the result is.
Very pleased with our defensive effort in the first half, holding them to 19 points. A little concerned about we had way too many turnovers. I think at one point we had 7 turnovers and only 6 baskets. But the group that ended the half did a great job defensively and then pushed the lead and to give us a nice cushion at halftime of 11 points. And then the second half, we started that group because I thought they ended so well, and they pushed the lead up to 15, 18. Eventually, we got a 20-point lead. And we're just happy to get a road win at a place that historically is one of the best, has one of the best home records in college basketball over the last 10 years. I think they got like 240 wins is what I read in their notes. They're tied for third. So pretty excited about the win.
Questions?
Jim, it was a different personnel between last year and this year, but it seemed like it was the same thing. The final 7:30 in the first half, no field goals. Last year, 5 minutes, no field goals. Just wear them down with that man look. Or?
A lot of times I can't explain it. I didn't know why we were turning the ball over either. We were making some critical errors. I didn't think they were forcing them. It wasn't like they pressured us into those. Just some miscues. But we've been pretty good defensively throughout our first 13 games, especially guarding the 3. And see, today they were 4 for 16, and we think they're a very, very good three-point shooting team. So that's very important that we can keep up that defensive pressure on those teams that play smaller. Like they were small today. They even started a smaller lineup than we were expecting. And we went small quite a bit. to try to match them and keep pressure on their three-point shooters. And, we like the 4 for 16 stat. As it says, our defense on the three, our closeouts were pretty darn good.
Jim, some of the Pitt players said after you made your initial run when they were leading 18-17, there were some defensive adjustments you guys did that got them out of rhythm offensively. What were some of those adjustments, and kind of did you clog the lanes a little bit more? How did it go?
Well, I didn't make any adjustments. My players, they make the adjustments on the court. We helped each other a little better. I thought Anthony Lawrence had a couple of blocked shots. Dewan Ewell helped a couple of times, and then Buka Zundu came in. I thought did a really good job. And we didn't turn the ball over, so we scored. And we only had 30 at halftime. It's not like we had 40 or 50 points at halftime, but we scored in that last 5-minute period when they weren't scoring to give us the separation.
You were saying earlier, Jim, it's difficult to explain why teams do go on, on some of those droughts where they go 7 or 8 minutes without a made shot against you guys. But from your vantage point as a coach, and Anthony, from your vantage point as a player, I mean, what do you see from opposing teams in those kind of situations? Does it seem like missed shot after missed shot, your all's pressure has any kind of effect that really seems to get to them?
Well, one of the things is we're fairly athletic, pretty good quickness on the perimeter. So when you have Jaquan Newton, Bruce Brown, Alani Walker, Chris Likes, those guys are really fast. And then Anthony Lawrence, Dewan Ewell, and Abuka Zundu are also long and athletic, and they can contest things. I thought our closeouts on a couple of their three-point shooters, Lonnie Walker's closeout one time, Bruce Brown's closeout one time, and somebody else had a great closeout, and I thought made them miss. Had they not closed out as fast as they did and contested as well as they did. We keep a stat. We share it with the players on uncontested versus contested. And I think for Pittsburgh's uncontested, they're shooting like 70%. But contested threes, 30%. So when we're competing against someone who's such a good three-point shooting team, there is a very strong emphasis on not giving them open looks. In fact, if you look, I think they made 2 of the 4 in the last 3 minutes when we were up 20. So they probably were only like 2 for 12 or something like that with a few minutes to go in the game.
There were limitations in the front court that had to have helped a little bit. It seemed like you could space your big men out and kind of, especially without Ryan Luther, kind of keep the post open.
Yeah, I think that certainly helped us. Ryan Luther is, off to a great start this year before he got hurt. He's averaging a double-double. He can stretch the defense because he can shoot the three, but he's also very clever in around the basket and a very fine facilitator. He can really pass the ball. So before the game, before we knew what their starting lineup was going to be, we had Ryan Luther in the starting lineup thinking that if he was healthy, he'd be starting.
Anthony, are you homesick at all? I mean, you guys, your schedule's been crazy like the last 6 weeks. I mean,
no, I'm not homesick. For me, and it's a lot of other players on the team that love to play on the road because it's a better crowd. It's a crowd against us, and I think we play better against the opponent's crowd.
Jim, have you learned anything about your group? I mean, you put the schedule together, and I mean, I'm sure I don't know any Power 5 teams that play 6 weeks away from home in December.
There is a problem with scheduling. And I hate at the end of the year when you hear people talk about, well, your non-conference schedule was ranked this. And I'm like, well, we did the schedule 2 years ago. You don't really know for sure who's going to be good. And a certain number of games we need to play at home. Otherwise, we'd have been traveling 8 weeks instead of 6. We didn't know the ACC regular season would start with us playing 3 of our first 4 conference games on the road. And when we schedule, it's a 5-year contract with ESPN, so they sent us to Hawaii. Next year they're sending us to California. But it's very challenging to put together a schedule that has balance to it. And people who think it's easy don't really understand what goes into it. Because like we played LaSalle in Reading, Pennsylvania. Why? Because we told Lonnie Walker when we were recruiting him, if you sign with us, we'll bring you back home. And there's no school in Reading, so we got a team from Philadelphia, a local school. We told Chris Likes we would, after he signed, we would schedule a team in Washington, D.C. And GW had just finished winning 27 games, won the NIT, and looked like they were on a roll. We thought that would be a phenomenal RPI game. So you can't figure everything out 2 years ahead of time. So we do the best we can. The guy who does my scheduling is Jamal Brunt. He does a ton of research on every opponent. But we've played 4 neutral site games and 3 legitimate road games at GW, at Minnesota, at Hawaii. Those are not easy places to play and win. So we feel like we've challenged ourselves and have prepared ourselves for a game at Pittsburgh, and now we got to go to Georgia Tech. So hopefully our guys will be well rested and ready to go and play with a lot of energy.